I'm Mr. Reed. I teach anatomy and physiology. I also teach biology, but the class that I'm practicing on is the anatomy and physiology class. They're 11th and 12th grade students. It's a 4.5 level class, so it's a weighted class. It's an elective class, and I'm just trying to do new projects to see how we can integrate the technology and move away from what we've been doing. As I've mentioned many times, this is kind of an experiment to see what it is that we're going to do with things, because I'm not sure what I need, and hopefully as I go through I'll be able to tweak and come up with the correct thing in a few years. You know, right now it's trial and error, and then we'll go back and I'll change it and I'll come back with something different.
Right now we are learning about the different parts of the body, and we are doing it instead of reading out of the text and doing worksheets. He's doing it in more of a project form, and so instead we are doing projects and learning in that visual way.
I've never done projects like this. I've done a few projects where they present a few things. Most of in our anatomy and physiology, we've been doing labs. We do a lot of labs, and then, you know, over the material that I've lectured about and stuff like that. But I've never done a whole lot of projects. Occasionally had them present, but not a whole lot where the kids were leading what was going on. I've got to admit, right now I'm very fortunate because I have a smaller class. And so I'm getting to know them and do things and have fun with it. I don't know how it would work with a major class. And the deal is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out how this will work this first 9 weeks with this group, because the second 9 weeks I may try to do this with my group of 30 and in some aspect. But I want to make sure I get it right with the small group first. Is if you're creating this website, this is kind of cool. You bet. Once they get all the PowerPoints done, you can take the background, add them to it, and then actually we can take it on my link on my website where it says links, and I could link it, yes, to my web page. That would be kind of cool. That'd be a good aspect, I think. Because we're going to get hopefully to the immune system and those different systems. So only things that are pertaining to the integumentary system is what I would like.
Okay. But do you still want, like, on our websites, do you want them to be kind of like an overview of, like...
You mean like what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Like the parts and stuff? It should have
like
some elements.
And stuff like that.
It should have some elements of theirs, yes, of websites that they can go to or things they can do. But you don't have to go, obviously, in depth like what they're doing. So, but yeah, if you can include those, that'd be fantastic. Again, we're working through this together. We'll find out how it goes. So excited about, because it goes along with the book, and absolutely, this has so much stuff. My other students are going to be so upset with this group, and I'm not giving them your names.
Here, you can actually do them on the computer. You don't have to write them down.
Yes.
Just click one and see what happens. I thought maybe we can do it together, because they have, like, definitions on there that we haven't really covered, but we do have computers, so we can just Google them, you know?
No, that's what I'm liking.
So this is this. Do you guys want to do it together? Or?
Yeah, let's work through it.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can find out.
It looks like it's on one down right now, and it says phagocytes in the skin. So does anybody off the top of their head know what that is? So does someone want to type that into Google?
Hit that in real quick, guys. See, this is the interaction part. Yeah, I was hoping this could be the good part. Let's find out. So as you're looking it up, then they can go on to something else.
The disc-like expansion of the end of a nerve fiber, together with a closely associated Merkel cell that has a presumed tactile function, called also Merkel's corpuscle.
Okay, so the nerve cell basically comes to an end. You got little dendrites out there that are gathering in the sensitivity of it. So that would make somewhat of sense as a little disc. Okay. Okay, go to the art labeling. I don't know if you've looked at that. This, ladies and gentlemen, is really cool, and this is the one that my students are going to love when we get to the new one. I hope you don't mind me taking over for you.
No.
Okay, what's really great about this is eventually I'm going to have quizzes for my other students and so forth, and my former students are going to, they would have killed for something like this, because when it gets to skeletal system, it does things. All you basically do now is you come over here, okay, and you're going to start clicking and moving them over, and it tells you whether you get the right thing. So, pour, That looks like a pore, doesn't it?
Yes.
And we get to put it up here, and yay, we got it right. Okay, so we got a pore. Now, and you can do this all you want. So then you take, and let's go dermis. Okay, let's call, we know that this, that's not dermis, sorry.
Oh, it makes noises.
No, that's not good. It's a top one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got to click on the wrong. Okay, okay. We know that this is going to be the dermis, right? However, let's put it in the wrong spot, and boom. Let's try again. Isn't that cool? And so my kids are going to. This is what I'm going to be giving them when we start the skeleton and all that kind of stuff. So to me, this is a really cool tool. And then if you don't like what you did, you come back over here.
Reset.
And reset it, and then you quiz after you get to quiz yourself again, and you can practice and practice and practice. What I really liked was the last group that went through. They went out and really went above and beyond. I kind of just wanted them to do a little presentation about what they had found, and they went out and they actually made a web page. They made a web page, did all the links to the web page, showed that there were some really good interactive sites out there. They came back and they broke us up into groups and walked us through the different things to show us what was being done and what kids could use to study. So they took that and went above and beyond. So I really enjoyed that group for that aspect of it.
I like it being changed up a little bit because if you sit into a class and they lecture every single day, all the time, then it's not that fun. You get so used to it that it's not like you're going to pay attention.
In the traditional classroom, I'd say above and beyond. A lot of times for me was on the tests. Would be when I give an essay question, the normal kid would write a paragraph, and above and beyond would be a kid who writes 3 or 4 paragraphs and going into detail. And the only person who saw it was me. So the kids didn't get to see the above and beyond part. They just would maybe hear, hey, so-and-so did this on their test, and it was really good. But here they actually get to see what above and beyond was and get to experience it.
Piloquinithiosis is the most severe form of, it's like a skin disease. It's horrible. It's like, characterized by thickening in the layer of fetal human skin.
I learned a lot from my presentation, and I think that it was pretty good. It wasn't too bad, and I learned a lot from other people because it gives you like new ideas to do.
Oh, it's quite awful. I'll show you some pictures in a second. But what happens is, I actually researched this pretty thoroughly.
Good.
What happens is the layers of the skin they move close together. They compact, and basically what happens is in the eyelids, the skin that is supposed to be spread out, it actually just goes into one area, and they collect. All the skin cells collect, and it tightens the eyelids, and it pulls them up into where it forms just like a red bulb. That's all you can see. They can't see because it covers their eyes, and it forms like little diamond and triangular patches on their skin because that's where all the skin cells have collected and formed, and their skin is often very, very dry and unable to move.
Now, okay, so you obviously have researched it. Would this be very similar to like the tough skin on your sole of your feet? Sometimes when the skin gets thicker on the sole of your feet, you have...
Yeah, but like it's dry. It's
my feet dry.
It's sort of to where infection can get in between the skin layers. Like there are certain areas that are thick and certain areas that aren't, and those are more prone to infection because the skin gets so dry that it cracks. And in between the cracks is where, you have no skin cells, basically. They're very few. And
Okay.
I'll show you pictures.
So, okay.
And
Oh my god,
symptoms.
Nope, can't do it.
Infants with this condition are born with very hard, thick skin covering most of their bodies. The skin forms large diamond-shaped plates that are separated by deep cracks. The ears and nose are poorly developed or not there, and the eyelids are inverted.
Do they ever
That's
get
real
normal
people.
skin?
Do they ever? Actually, what they used to treat it is this. This is actually heavy acne medication.
Okay.
Basically,
One of the guys, basically he took and he got into it really heavy. He was looking on the diseases, and though it wasn't exactly what I was looking for, and he didn't give me as much material as I wanted on one particular disease, he knew his material and he could just explain everything about it, and it was a disease that I'd never heard of, no idea what was going on, and so it was kind of interesting to see how he took that route with it.
almost like close to 100% of cases are fatal, and there was actually someone who had the case in a hospital, and it was so rare that no one knew what to do. Like, they had never seen it, they didn't know how to treat it, they didn't know what to do, they hadn't the slightest idea what to do. Luckily, there was a doctor who had seen other cases of ichthyosis before, like congenital ichthyosis, and he said, give them acne medication, because it allows the skin cells to be more flexible. Yeah. So.
What?
Sarah had a question.
Oh, and were they born that way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a genetic mutation that just happens in the skin cells. It's
So you like literally can't see, like they can't see because of their eyes. Like I don't understand like what is the skin over it?
well, yeah. Basically the eyelid, the skin cells up here, like where your eyebrow would be, tightened, like extremely tight, and it pulls that, like underneath your eyelid, that layer of skin. It looks like that, and it just pulls it up over your eye, and
just the fact that he does know so much about the human body, and that we were able to sort of show him what we learned and say, this is correct, right? This is, and there were certain things that he didn't know, like the diseases that we looked up, like he'd never heard of harlequin ichthyosis, which was one of our diseases, and I was able to research that enough in depth to kind of school him on it, and he learned something else, and that's also it's beneficial to us, but also to him.
It's so rare that they may not test for it. Yeah, the first time around, as I kind of mentioned, the kids did what I asked, and I was kind of vague on certain things, and the one group I said, at least 3 diseases, and they gave me 3 diseases. And they did what was asked of them and then kind of stopped and didn't go beyond that particular aspect, where I also noticed that I needed to give them somewhat direction. Several people, whatever I put down, they covered. They didn't, I was hoping they would give an overview of the system, and they gave me a very brief overview of the system, which was basically what Webster said. And when I actually was talking about an overview of the system, I was hoping for like an outline, that this is this part of the system and that would be that part of the system. For example, this is the epidermis, and then tell me a few things of the epidermis, and then this was the dermis, and then the hypodermis through the integumentary system. But they just gave me the short aspect, So now I know that I need to give them direction, and that's what I'm going to start doing with this next unit.
You can learn as much as you want. You can research any aspect of the topic that you're working on. Like ours was diseases, and so we could research any disease we wanted. I mean, it didn't have to be specific major diseases. It could have been slight diseases, slight ailments, or little, and that was cool about it. And you could research in depth, or you could research very little.
I'm going to try many different things, yeah. I'm going to start out slow with just tweaking a few little variables, keeping the things. I'm going to keep the groups the same this time, so because they're familiar with their group that they're in. They're going to do different aspects this time around, but the thing that I'm going to tweak is I'm going to the test that I would normally give a kid. Then I'm looking at the test and I'm saying, okay, this is what I expect a normal kid to know when they're done with this unit. And I'm going to kind of outline that and say, this is the aspect that I want you to know by the time we're done. So that hopefully now the kids will go out, find the material that I'm wanting them to eventually know by the time they're done, and then we'll be able to present it. So from that aspect, I'm trying to give them more structure in the direction that they're going. I'm hoping that will work, and if that doesn't work, then I will come back and I will maybe go back and look at my notes, or look at maybe some other things that other people have done, like the book, and we'll see where it goes.
We have to really do need to know it, and then to teach it to everybody else, you have to know a lot about it, and if they ask questions, you need to know more details, and you should probably tell them everything you know to try to help them, but I don't think it's that bad because you're actually teaching, and I heard as a teacher, you know, you learn more than...
I'll be honest with you, I don't know any other way to do it. That's what I do. I just get in the mix of them and try to be one of them as the kids are presenting, because I should be that learning aspect. The one thing that did shock me the most, and I hate to admit it, especially on camera, is that I really enjoyed the fact that the kids had the computers, because when a kid would make a statement and we weren't sure about it, I turned to the kids in the classroom and I would say, look it up. Let's look it up. And it actually, we could find information out. And I found that that was really good. Though, again, I hated to admit the fact that they were coming into play using the computers like we were told they were going to do. So, but yeah, I try to participate as much as possible. That's just the way I do it. It's the way I've always done it. I don't know if I'm just trying to play a game or whatever. That's just my style.
I think that us teaching each other will help us grow in many different ways. And one, I think it'll help us grow as a stronger class. And like it's creating a bond that I don't have with all my classes. And which I think is good for, like, I don't know, when you get a job or so, because it teaches you how to, like, how you can bond with each other, and it makes you more outgoing in a sense. And I know we just started, so like I realized that like the presentations we were doing, we weren't exactly, like there wasn't as much interaction, but as I think that everyone would have liked, but I know that as we go on, there will be more, because we'll be more comfortable with each other.
I'm not sure. I guess whoever discovers that will be one excellent teacher.